All right, welcome everybody. This is Unit 4. My name is Ellen Zwarnstein. I get to direct the Michigan Center for Civic Education, which includes the We the People program in Michigan. And in a moment, your judges will introduce themselves, and they will also ask you to introduce yourselves as well. And then just wish you the very best for a hearing. You'll see me put up time cards, hopefully at the right time, as you proceed, and have a fantastic time.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ann Zinkin. I am a career law clerk here in New Hampshire at the New Hampshire Supreme Court. I will be your Chief Justice today. I've been at the court for about 21 years. Prior to that, I was a litigator in San Francisco for about 12, and I've been doing the We the People competition at the state level for somewhere between 5 and 10 years, but this is my first time at nationals. I'm very much looking forward to the conversation with you. Judge Anderson, the floor is yours.
I'm Barry Anderson. I'm the Senior Justice on the Minnesota Supreme Court. I have been associated with this program for a very long time, and that includes a period of time as an assistant coach now 25 years ago or something like that, wherein I had the opportunity to sweat out the statement preparation and worrying about what kinds of difficult and impossible to answer questions the judges were going to throw your way. So I kind of get where you're at, and I just want to assure you we're going to have a great time. It's going to be a great conversation.
Absolutely. And I'm Hank Chambers. I'm a law professor down here at University of Richmond. Good to see everybody. I've been at this for a couple of decades, so before y'all were born. And I look forward to a good conversation this afternoon. So good to see you.
And if y'all would introduce yourselves, that would be great.
Hi, I'm Gabriela Espinoza.
Hi, my name is Sabrina Rivera.
Hi, my name is Samantha Silva. First and foremost, thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. We represent Chicago Hope Academy, and we are coached by our teacher, Mr. Zach Mislinker.
Awesome. So I'm going to read the question. The question today for Unit 4 is question 1. And after I read, please feel free to start your presentation. It would be inconsistent with the constitutional separation of the executive and legislative powers to let the prerogative, pardon power, be exercised by the latter. What were the framers' reasons for giving the president the pardon power, and do you agree or disagree with them? According to the framer James Wilson, if the president abuses the pardon power, he can be impeached and prosecuted. Do you agree with Wilson? Why or why not? In your opinion, what constitutes high crimes and misdemeanors?
The framers modeled the pardon power of Great Britain by giving it to the executive in Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution. The president has power to grant, receive, and pardon for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. We agree with the framers giving the president power to pardon. In Federalist 74, Alexander Hamilton argues that it is better for a single executive to decide the questions of mercy rather than it being decided in groups. He implies if pardons were done in groups, there would be less pressure to either grant mercy on humanitarian terms or to uphold justice. The pardon power has helped many people in America, especially minorities, be pardoned for minor crimes, in which the pardon power has been beneficial to the American society. One of the prime examples would be President Trump, who a day before he left in office pardoned many people for minor crimes. Although there are many upsides to the framers giving the president the power to pardon, there are also many downsides in which the president can abuse the power.
We agree with James Wilson. In the case of pardon power abuse, the president can be impeached. The pardon power authorizes the president to grant several forms of relief from criminal punishment. The most common forms of relief are full pardons for individuals and amnesties for groups of people, which completely obviate the punishment for a committed or charged federal criminal offense. The limits are those concerning self-pardons and the legal effects of clemency. During the Constitutional Convention, Edmund Randolph expressed his concern, stating, "The prerogative of pardon in these cases was too great to trust. The president may himself be guilty. The traitors may be his own instruments." Furthermore, at the Virginia Ratifying Convention, George Mason argued that the president ought not to have the power to pardoning because he may frequently pardon crimes which were advised by himself, expressing the many concerns of a criminal president. The concerns of the president abusing the pardon power were evident when creating the Constitution. Some argue that President Donald Trump abused his powers by granting pardons to people convicted of crimes relating to his presidential campaign. In addition, the idea of self-pardoning came about at the end of Trump's presidency, but would collide with the 1974 Justice Department memo that states the fundamental rule that no one may be a judge of his own case.
High crimes and misdemeanors have led to much confusion due to its broad nature. In our opinion, high crimes and misdemeanors constitutes anything that puts the country in grave danger or a serious violation of the Constitution by a federal official. Article 2, Section 1, Clause 8 states the oath in which the president is constitutionally required to make in order to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and liberty. During President Donald Trump's second impeachment trial, the House of Representatives presented an impeachment article that claimed incitement of insurrection as a result of the January 6th insurrection of the United States Capitol. This falls under high crimes and misdemeanors due to President Trump stating regarding the 2020 election, when a federal official violates the Constitution, it should be considered under high crimes and misdemeanors. As it goes over constitutional constraints and contradicts the primary role of governing officials. This is also seen through President Nixon's first article of impeachment, where he has abused his power by creating a plan to delay and investigations of unlawful entry of the Watergate Hotel. The definition of high crimes and misdemeanors can also be applied to President Trump's first article of impeachment, when the former president solicited the interference of a foreign government, Ukraine, in the 2020 United States presidential election. One argument is that high crimes and misdemeanors is considered a collection of missteps that is to be interpreted by both houses of Congress, in which a federal official puts the country in danger and engages in an abuse of authority. Thank you. We are now ready for your questions.
Thank you very much. So my question is this: if impeachment is one of the main limit on the pardon power, has it been an effective limit on the pardon power? Has anybody been impeached for how they've used the pardon power?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Certainly. If the power to impeach a president is the main limit in the Constitution on the pardon power, how effective has that limit been? Has it actually stopped presidents from pardoning people in an abusive way? And I guess another question would be, what other limits should there be, if any, on the pardon power?
I do definitely think that there should be more restrictions and regulations when it comes to the pardon power, just because, yes, it has been effective. Yes, we've seen it all throughout, like, especially this year before Trump left office, like a day before he left, he did pardon a lot of people for minor crimes. But I do think that there should be a bit more to it than just pardoning it and impeachment, just because it's such a broad thing that I do think there should be more steps to it.
So what should we do to a president who abuses their pardon power? And what can we do to him or her? You know, I mean, think of it this way. What if a teacher engages it? What if a teacher sees a violation in class and just says, I'm just going to let that one go for you, but for somebody else says, you're actually going to be punished. Should we do something to that teacher? Or do we just say, hey, the teacher can do whatever they want to do and dispense justice however they want? What should we do to him or her?
I think that there should be a consequence for an abuse of power, for the pardon power, especially because we've seen before how some presidents, they can pardon people like who they know who have had major crimes and major cases for them. So I do feel like there should be a consequence for that, but it should not go as far as impeachment. I feel it should just be like a minor consequence for that.
Yeah, any guesses for what you think those consequences should be? I mean, should we dock their salary, or what do you think we should do with them? And of course, this is for the whole team. You know, I mean, the president gets paid what, about $400,000 a year? I think that's the president's salary. What do you think? The president does a bad job. We dock him 50 grand, or should we just say, oh well, you know?
I think
Don't do that again, right? What should we do to him?
I think that even though the presidential power is in the Constitution, I feel like that we as people, as like a society, we have a really big say in this, because let's say like there's protests, like the president sees these things and he like might fix things, or he might do things differently if we come as a community and protest.
Gotcha.
I think it's a really effective way that people are doing right now and have been doing for a long time, that they protest to express their opinion.
Do you think if the people who wrote our Constitution could be with us today and see the way the impeachment process works, do you think they would say that's exactly the kind of check that we thought impeachment would be on the President of the United States? Or do you think they'd want a better check? Or do they think it's too much of a check? Put it another way, as we look at impeaching a president, for example, do you think way back in the 1770s, 1783, when the Constitution was written, do you think the people who were writing it thought this is exactly how we wanted it to work? Did they think they were going to have more impeachments, fewer impeachments, different kinds of impeachments? What do you suppose they would see? What do you suppose they would think if they could see what we were doing today?
I honestly feel like they wouldn't have expected the way that it was written to be done today. I definitely think that they probably thought something else would have been done. I don't think that they quite thought like of impeachment right away, although it is like stated in the Constitution, like impeachment. I think that they would have thought of it to be a little bit more broad.
So you think that they would have thought, well, gee, 225 plus years, at least some president would have been successfully impeached and removed from office. It's never happened, right?
I mean, they probably would have thought somebody probably would have been impeached by now, but
yeah, I know it's a tough question to ask. You try to guess what somebody thinks a couple hundred years later, but yeah, okay, that's fine. Thank you.
I'm curious, if you were president, who do you think you would what kind of people do you think you would likely pardon? Right, because you mentioned the help in terms of pardoning folks for minor crimes. What kind of folks and what kinds of crimes do you think you'd likely pardon people for?
Definitely pardon people for the use of marijuana, just because it is legalized in a lot of states. A lot of people that have the small crimes are for marijuana, so definitely pardon them because it is legalized. And I don't think that somebody should be in prison for such a small crime, especially if it's legalized. Also, a lot of minorities are in prison for small crimes, like maybe like paying a parking ticket. Definitely look into it. I definitely have, if I was president, I definitely have to look into who I'm going to be pardoning. I just can't pardon anyone.
Okay. So in Chicago, so let me ask this question. Former Governor Rod Blagojevich got pardoned by President Trump. Good idea, good pardon, bad pardon? Any ideas on that? Because the suggestion was that he was trying to sell essentially sell President Obama's former Senate seat, and that he wanted to get some money for it. Got convicted, and then President Trump pardoned him for it. Does that sound like the kind of thing we ought to pardon somebody for?
Definitely not. I think that shouldn't have been a pardon. Like I said, it's going into the pardon power is just, you have to take a lot of consideration in who you're pardoning, who you're not pardoning.
Absolutely. Good deal. Good deal.
Thank you very much. Professor Chambers, I'm sorry, go ahead.
One of our colleagues got kicked out, and I'm not sure if you can let her in. Or...
Oh, I don't.
Yeah, I think they're in by phone right now. Are you here by phone? That's taking
no problem. Yeah, I'll give a couple comments. I thought the opening was really good. The idea of where the pardon power came from, important stuff y'all laid out. Good job of talking about particular abuses of the pardon power, talking about Nixon's impeachment, Trump's impeachment, things along those lines. So I thought that was good stuff. Good ideas in the Q&A. It's a tough thing to start thinking about what framers may have been thinking about moving forward. But I think when you start thinking about, who gets to exercise this awesome power and how do I put it into effect? That's where you guys started thinking, oh yeah, okay, that's what it is that we should do. So good to see y'all, good to hear the conversation, and I look forward to seeing more from you.
So yes, I liked your statement. I thought it was it made sense. It was, you've obviously spent some time studying and working on it. I know that I asked you kind of, it's always a tough question to ask. What do you think somebody long dead would think about what they see today? But I thought, we got there, and I thought you answered that well. And, you're going to leave this competition and having worked on this with a better understanding of our constitutional republic than a lot of your contemporaries. And you're to be congratulated for all the work that you've done, and good luck the rest of the way. This is one of the highlights of my year, is to be able to come here and listen to students talk about the founding era of the republic and what it means for us today. So thank you for being part of my day today. It's been great.
Thank you. I echo what my colleagues have said. I thought that your opening statement was very good. I liked your use of history. You demonstrated a pretty good command of the material during your statement. It seemed that our questions kind of threw you a little bit, and I think that I imagine is just about practice and sort of having somebody moot the questions with you. As a lawyer, when I'm called, I haven't had to do this in a really, really long time, but when I'm called to argue in front of a judge and try to imagine the questions that he will or she will throw at me, I often will practice that a lot with my colleagues because it's really hard to think on your feet. So overall, I thought you did a lovely job, and you should be very proud of yourself. And I really enjoyed the conversation. I really learned a lot. So thank you.